So my suggestion was I cover the whole of inheritance for you. So what's with inheritance? Inheritance, just like other concepts or paradigms of object-oriented programming, inheritance is also one of them. So where you're dealing with inheritance, it means you're going to deal with more than one class, subclasses and superclasses. We are talking about parent classes and child classes. So which one is a parent class? The parent class is one which is inherited from or one that is extended. So the other mistake that most of the guys are doing, you find them, I don't know if you can see the screen, but what people do, you find them making the super class. You find people making the public class the super class, and then they try to extend that class, which in most cases is not correct. So if you have classes, if you want to deal with inheritance, then it is always good you you have your classes at the top level of your code. So it is just wise that this public class here be made the main class of the program. In this public class here, only have things that you're going to run for your code, this public method and stuff. So if you have other classes that you want to make super and the what super class and the child class, just put them at the top level of your code. That meaning in this case here, that's where those classes should be. And those classes should never be declared as public classes. You only have one public class in your code, which is this. So those ones are simply called classes. So what I want us to do is a little bit of normal inheritance. So I want to have a superclass students that. So this becomes the parent class if at all it is extended by a child class. So in this superclass students, I'm assuming that my student will have a name and they will have a class. So yeah, and I'm assuming that they will have age and maybe fees, something of the sort. So those are the attributes of the parent class. It can be whichever attributes you want them to be, but for the one I'm making, I want to have student superclass. Students should have a name, they should belong to a class, they should have age, and they should be paying some amount of fees. So that's it. So the child class comes below the superclass, and the child class extends the superclass. So you can have child class maybe O level, yeah, extends hope you guys are good with this. So I hope you can see me. We have the major class for students, which has its attributes. And we have a child class called O level, which is extending the superclass student. So basically, this is it. You don't have to repeat declaration of these attributes in this child class. No, these attributes are automatically extended or inherited by the child class. So what you only do in the child class is simple. You only have to declare their new. You only have to declare their new methods and new attributes which are unique to that subclass. The other thing that you guys should also know is that we don't have multiple inheritance in normal inheritance. We only have multiple inheritance in interfaces. What do I mean by multiple inheritance? You cannot have this class O level extending class students, comma, extending another class, maybe what, maybe its defaulters. That's not possible. But if there were interfaces, then you could have an interface extending an interface. So you could have a subclass implementing multiple interfaces. So that would be possible for you. But for a case where we have this, multiple inheritance will never be possible. So For the subclass O level, you can have new variables that are unique to that subclass. Maybe they can be I don't know, whatever the case. So I'm just declaring something like optional subject. I don't have anything to declare there. You can also have a method. You can have a method. Maybe you want a method that will get a discount of fees, something of the sort. Yeah, something of the sort. So that method you return maybe return fees. Remember, we have a variable fees that the subclass is extending. We have an attribute of fees that the subclass is extending. So this is the superclass. I mean, this is the superclass students, and this is the subclass what O level, and it is extending the superclass students. So I told you we don't have to repeat the variables of the what of the superclass here. These variables are automatically inherited by the what? By the subclass. So the subclass has its unique characteristics that it does not inherit from the superclass, and that's what I've done here. I have string, optional subject. I have a method public int discount that will help me maybe find the discount on the fees that the student is paying. If there are things that a subclass does not inherit, then those are called privates. Private, 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 private variables are not extended by a subclass. So you can have something of this. So those variables that are and methods that are declared as private only belong to a class in which they are declared. They are not inherited by the what? They are not inherited by the class, by the subclass. So I don't know if you are getting this, but that's it. So if you are making objects, you can either make an object for students to access a private member, or you can make an object for O level to access everything. But when you're making that object of O level, you will never access this private member here because it only belongs to the class student. So if you want to access this Y or B, you will have to create an object for student to access this variable here. So you can still have another subclass. It can be maybe a class A level extends the other upper class we had called what? Students. I guess this is it. Yeah. So this subclass can also have its own unique identifiers or attributes, which can be maybe combination, something of the sort, and maybe int points. So those ones are also unique to that subclass. Okay, so we have subclasses, O level and A level, they're all extending the superclass students. You can also have a subclass extending the subclass, that's okay. It's completely okay. So object creation, I don't know. Are you guys so far okay with this? If you're okay with this, then we can move on. If you have any question at this point, you can ask. Don't want to rush when you are actually stuck. Okay, so if you're okay, you can continue. So I told you can create objects for any of the subclasses if you want to access its members, but for this case, I don't know. We can start with maybe O level. We can start with O level. We can create an object for O level and see. So it can be anything, obj1, new. So that has no problem. That has no problem at all. So we will simply be using this object to call these attributes and methods that are in that class, and those that class is what inheriting. I mean these. So how do we do that? We simply use the object name, which is obj1 dot a variable that variable you assign a value. That's it. That's it. That's it. Object name one with a variable name. Variable name age. Yeah. So to that you assign a variable. Yeah. Object name. So I think I can stop there and just show you if it is also possible to create an object for the superclass. So our superclass was students, right? We can call it an S. That's the object name, new students. So yeah, it is possible. So you can use that object you have created from the superclass to access any either public members or private members of that class. But for this class, we want to try and see, can we access a private member using that class's objects? That's what I want to show you. So our private member of that class was Yauba. This YOB here. So let's try it. Let's try and see. We have our S dot S dot where is Yauba? Where is Yauba? OB, I guess. Hopefully it works. It is going to work. It's going to work. So it might not work because it should have worked already, but it may not work. So it's here, but I don't know why it's not working. But the private members can never be inherited by subclasses. You will try that later and we'll see if it will work. It will work. I don't think private members can be inherited. No. So let's try to also make an object for class A level. This was it, the object name. Yeah. So we have to use that object of class A level to also access members of that class. So in that class, we only had com, right? Yeah. Which is this. It is a combination and it was a string. Then it means you shall simply have their combination, and that's okay. That's okay. So that's it with inheritance. So for output, I know you guys know how to output. You know how to output? Yeah, so I guess you know. So inheritance, you have a superclass, it has its members. Those members can be inherited or extended by a subclass. I also told you can never have multiple inheritance except in interfaces. Yeah, except in interfaces. So I don't know from here, should I go to abstraction or interfaces? So I hope you guys have got this issue of inheritance. You don't know how to output system.out.println. I will not show you that. You've done that for the last 3 months. I will not show you that. The other one, someone wants me to show them. Want me to show you interfaces. Yeah. So interfaces and abstraction are actually the same, but you always have to bring in that concept of inheritance. Yeah, if you really want to understand them. So I will just keep on changing this. Yeah, so I'll just eliminate a few things here. So interfaces are class-like constructs. Why you call them class-like construct is that their structure looks like that of a class. So this is a class right here. The way you declare a class is the way you're going to declare an interface. It's also going to have a body like this. So an interface can simply be something of, you simply declare it like that. Don't add the word class. Yeah, don't add the word class. So it will simply be interface students. So inside an interface, you simply declare there inside an interface, you declare there only final or constant variables. I hope you can get that. Constant variables, those are final variables. So at their declaration in that interface, you actually have to assign to them values that are constant, values that are not going to change. I'm also going to show you that. Then the other thing you have to do is you have to declare their abstract methods. Methods without bodies are called abstract methods. So the reason as to why I use interfaces is to achieve abstraction. I think we can go through that. So interfaces and abstract classes are the same, actually, almost, because the reason you use both of them is to hide something to achieve abstraction. So inside an interface, have abstract what? Have abstract methods. So we can assume I want to have a method that I'm going to use to make this sum to integers. Yeah, so that can be abstract method. Yeah, so I can change this to one. Abstract without a body. So at declaration, don't give a body, don't open the body, just give the method signature and terminate. So this is the method signature. Just this line alone is the method signature. Then you can have multiple of them depending on what you really want to have for your program. Can have multiple. Can have maybe this one going to be for that. Yeah. Can have property. This can be void. Can be void. So that's it. In interfaces, simply have their abstract methods and and final static what variables. So this is how you declare those final variables. Public static final maybe int age, and to that variable you assign a constant value that will never change. It can be anything, any type of variable. Static final name something here. Final name. So it's a string. This one should be a string. So I should have a string here, and here you have a string that. So values that you assign to final variables will never change. So in interfaces, only have public abstract methods and static final or constant variables. So what happens if some people have been asking, what will happen if I don't include all these words of public abstract, public static final? It still has no problem. So long as it's inside an interface, it will be interpreted as an abstract method or final variable. So there would be no problem with that. So long as it's inside an interface, it will be taken for an abstract method and an abstract a final static variable. So you could also have a method that is abstract, that is not declared as abstract, but so long as it's inside an interface, no problem. It will still be, the compiler will read it as a public abstract. public static final for variables. So I can have this away. Remain with our concept. So that's it. So an interface is implemented by a subclass. So what will change here is simply going to be that. So we shall have an interface being implemented by a subclass. So this class will always give you an error, not until you actually implement all of these methods here. So it is in this subclass that you're going to give these methods bodies. So you could have something of the sort, maybe return x plus a y. Yeah, that's the first method we had. The other one was for public abstract int product. You also have to define that method in the subclass that is doing what? The subclass that is implementing that method. Actually, you should not maintain the public abstract. This time you should simply have something of the sort public int that. Likewise here, you don't have to have the word abstract because we have it somewhere. Yeah, this is it. This is it. Yeah, so we are good to go. So you can also return this, and so maybe product is for multiplication. I guess so. So we are running out of time. So that if the 10 minutes elapse, you will simply go back to the same link. You will simply go back to the same link and we continue. But let's first finish this. Yeah, so we have to implement all the methods that are there. We also have this. We have that method. And it can be put here. Can be put here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's it. That's it for you. Have interfaces that are going to hide methods without bodies and implement those methods in the subclasses. So the other thing is that interfaces extend interfaces. I don't know if that can be a bit of clear. So we have interface. So let me first recap this. We have our interface. This here, it has abstract methods and final static what ints, and then we have a subclass that is implementing not that word. If they ask you which keyword is used in interface subclasses or in class or which keyword will be used on a subclass that is implementing abstract methods from an interface, then that would be the implements keyword. So where you see interfaces, know that a subclass is going to implement the abstract methods of that class. Then the other issue was you have public abstract this, but when you are defining or when you're implementing those methods in the child class, you don't have to repeat the word abstract. That would again mean you're hiding the same method. That's not possible. So simply say public int and define the method. Public void, define the method. So the other one was, can you have an interface extending an interface? So I want us to try this and we see. Can we have interface level extending interface class? So yeah, it's possible. If it wasn't possible, we would still have an error here, but it's not there. So that's possible. You can have an interface extending an interface, and still you can have a subclass that is implementing an interface that is extending an interface. The other issue I told you at first was you cannot have multiple inheritance in normal inheritance, but you can have multiple inheritance in interfaces. So let me try this for you. Assuming you have another interface, interface hug. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Is it possible to have an interface in extending or inheriting interface hug and at the same time inheriting interface students? Let's try that and see. So if you're dealing with multiple inheritance, you will simply say this class extends this class, comma, this class, comma, this class. So let's try and see. Interface level extends students, comma, extends hug. So it's possible. If not, you'll be seeing a red line or you'll be seeing an X somewhere. So an interface can extend an interface. Abstract class can be extended by a child class. An interface class can be implemented by what? By child class. So I hope I've covered something for you in interfaces. So if it comes to output, that will still be okay. So at output, you don't have to create an object for the interface. You create an object for a class that is implementing an interface. So for that case, we shall have an object for this class or level. So yeah, I don't have to repeat, the object is here. So I will simply have that object. I will simply use that object to do what? To call the methods that I have implemented up here. So I've called one of the method which was outputting something. So let's try and see if it has actually worked. If it has actually worked. Yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah, so it has worked. The output is down here. It has worked. So you can simply declare variables in your main method and try to also test for these methods. So I think, should I send for you this code on WhatsApp? You'll try to start from there. If it's okay, then I'll send it. We have 4 minutes left for this first session of 30. I think we should just prepare for. So you simply go back to assembly. After the 4 minutes, you simply go back to the same link and we continue from there. I don't know if there are other things you guys, apart from those interfaces we've done. I don't know if there's some other thing that you guys want. Yeah, stuff of constructors, stuff of arrays of objects. That's what that. So we could just have them ready. So we just continue from there after the 3 or 4 minutes. So you guys are now okay with interfaces and inheritance, because I think we are coming back for abstract classes. We are coming back for abstract classes, and what else are we coming back for? Yeah, we're coming back for abstract classes. And I think constructors, if there is any that is not okay with constructors, we shall also go through the constructor. So you will simply go to that link. After this session, you simply go back to that same link and we'll continue from there. But for now, you can just go through this code and see. I asked if it's okay, I send it for you on WhatsApp so that you can use it to declare variables and try to call these methods, these two methods, and see if they are going to work. Yeah. All right, so I'll send it for you. You can get back in a few minutes.